There are a lot of things that the movies don't tell us about love and feeling the butterflies. But as a child and growing up, I learned a lot about what love and relationships were supposed to be about through the movies because that was the only form of positive, loving relationships that I saw. Let me tell you a little bit about my childhood. I grew up with my mother, an awesome mom. She was a single mom. And I knew my dad. He was in my life, in and out. He apparently came into my life when I was 3 years old. And he, my mom told me he saw us at a Jazzmobile event. And if any of you are from New York, you may be familiar. That's a jazz festival that happens once a week every summer. And because he saw me there and thought I was cute, he decided that he would become more involved in my life. That was the foundation of my first relationship with men, my father being the example, right? The relationship that we create with our parents is our first experience with what love is supposed to be like. So when we think about love, that starts to frame how we imagine our lives will be like with our partners, right? With the people that we start to love later on in life. For me, when my parents were in the same room, I would brace myself because typically it would end up in a screaming match. From my parents, I learned that love was complicated. It was tumultuous. It was not a happy thing. But in the movies, there was a different picture painted. I saw a lot of love and butterflies and people being very passionate towards one another. So I held on to that despite all that I experienced growing up. I learned from the movies that love was supposed to be this unconditional thing. So I thought that's what love would be like in my own family. I remember the first time that I learned that love was actually conditional. It was the summer of my sixth grade year. So I had just graduated from the sixth grade. And my father made an announcement to my mother that we would be all going to enroll me into a math and science program for the summer. So every summer, the thing that I looked forward to the most was going to sleepaway camp. I went to sleepaway camp from the age of 8 all the way up until that point. So I was crushed. And I thought, nobody had consulted me about this. I was just going to be forced to do this thing. And the idea was, I know my father had a good intent, right? He wanted me to get into a good high school. And this program was, every day, 9 to whatever, and we would learn and we would prepare for this exam. Because in New York City, you have to take tests to get into specialized high schools. And my dad wanted me to go to a specialized high school. When I got home that night, I had a conversation with my mom. And I said to her, I want to be honest with you, I'm really unhappy and I don't want to do this. And it was the first time that I opened up and I gave all my trust to my mom. And she actually was on my side. She actually listened to me and she stood up for me. And she said to me, okay, I'll tell your father. And I thought, okay, my parents will support me if I'm open with them and I'm honest with them about something that I really love. My father was furious when my mom told him that I wasn't going to do this program. And that was the moment where I learned that love was conditional. Not only did he stop talking to me, he wouldn't take me to camp, and he was the one who had always taken me to camp because he had a car and my mom didn't. And this was somewhere in Connecticut, so it wasn't the easiest place to get to. He didn't talk to me, from that point on for maybe 6 months, maybe a year. I internalized that situation, and I realized that when you open up to people, they close up to you if they don't like what you have to say. They may leave you if they don't agree with you. They may not be involved in your life anymore if they don't like the truth that you share. But this was false. I had to teach myself what love was like. I had to teach myself what healthy relationships were like. When I first started being in relationships, because of what I had learned from that situation and from other situations, I wasn't very trusting of people. I never really showed any vulnerability. I wasn't willing to share what my true feelings were because I was fearful that if I did, I would lose that person. I didn't like getting into conflicts with people, so I was really quiet and I was really pleasing towards others. And that is the foundation of how you build unhealthy relationships and unhealthy boundaries. I learned from the movies that if something made you feel nervous and a lot of crazy energy and feelings and butterflies, that was something that was love. But that's not the way that nature works. If you go to a park, you go out in nature, you look at the trees and you look at the grass and you just listen. It's calm, it's peaceful, it takes time to grow. Trees don't just spring up overnight, honey. It takes a long time for trees to grow their solid foundation. And so that I had to learn was what love was all about. Love is not about feeling anxious, feeling nervous, feeling your blood pressure going up. Love is like a good cup of tea. It feeds you and it replenishes you enough so that you can feed and replenish someone else. And so when I was on my journey, and I'm still on my journey to loving myself and learning about love, I had to learn that it all started right here inside of me. For a long time, I didn't love myself. So I didn't know how to show love to other people. It was really hard for me. And I had to start to learn from as many sources as I could, from my friends, from the movies, from reading, from life experiences, that the only way you can really truly love other people is if you learn to love yourself. Because if you don't have any love for yourself, if you don't have any care, or you're not willing to be truthful and open and honest with your own self, how can you give love and be open and honest and understanding to other people? I love my father, but I had to look at him as a person. And I had to realize that people can only love you to the extent that they love themselves. You can only love other people to the extent that you love yourself. And honey, when I learned that lesson, I had a eureka moment, like, oh, everything starts from within. What you allow is about what you allow in terms of how you treat yourself. So develop healthy relationships within yourself, with your mind, with your body, with your spirit. Feed yourself good food. Build a relationship with your body in that way. Feed your mind positive thoughts. Read things that inspire and encourage you. Listen to things that inspire and encourage you. Write and watch things that inspire and encourage you. And then feed your soul, feed your spirit. Take time to write in your journal. Take time to meditate. Take time to reflect. That's how you build a solid, loving relationship and an understanding of who you are. And when you're able to do that, when you're able to build a solid and loving relationship with yourself, then, honey, you can love and have amazing, rejuvenating relationships, fulfilling, growth-filled, love-filled relationships with other people. Love is not about the nervous energy. Love is about feeling calm, feeling a sense of being at home, at peace. That's love. Love is like a good conversation with someone. You know, you feel like they get you and you get them and you exchange this wonderful energy. That's love. That's healthy love. So I want you to do something for me tonight or today, whatever time you're watching this. And I want you to think about 3 examples in your life where you have experienced love. It can be good or bad, and it should be a mixture. And really reflect on how each of those experiences affected you. You can do that by sitting with it, writing it down, talking about it. Then I want you to think about love right now. Think about the kind of love that you want in your life right now. And I want you to take a moment to find a quiet spot and write yourself a love letter. What is it that you want to tell love about who you are? What kind of relationship do you want to build with love? How do you want to show up for love and want love to show up for you? And then, once you write that letter, put it somewhere safe where you can revisit it and remember those things. And then go out into the world and be those things for yourself and for others. You can change your life because you are love. It all starts with you. Have a beautiful, beautiful, amazing day. Thank you for listening.